Hey, hello, bonjour. Welcome to Prime Talk video number 5. I think they should be number 6. And the channel is growing slowly by slowly. Thank you to the new subscribers who came in. And so for this video today, I know it's Friday. We do have a game we do have a game tomorrow, but for this specific video I wanted to focus on the ongoing talk of a protest happening on believe Tuesday, that because that's when we play the home game against Southampton. About the protest is basically what this video I wanted to speak about, and then I will do a preview for tomorrow's game away at Villa, probably today evening or tomorrow morning. And I shall definitely the upload will be up tomorrow, so you will also have a checkout and enjoy. Give it a comment, give it a like, share, subscribe. Absolutely free to subscribe. So uh, welcome to the family, and yeah, let's keep growing day by day, month by month, and see where we will become close of the year. Now, uh, there is a protest that Chelsea fans are planning. Uh, Generally, most of everything that is out there at the moment is that yes, there is a lot of unhappiness, but there is no central focus to this protest. Everybody seems to be giving his own opinion as to why he or she will be attending the protest. But at the moment in time, for me, number one, my thoughts are simply as this: there's absolutely no need to protest now. I actually believe it's coming from a point of mistrust from those who are planning or even go pro the protest, but it is just a case of them not believing in the future, and not believing in the squad that is there currently, which in all honesty they do have their own they do have their rights. They are Chelsea supporters, but for me I actually think it's just a matter of them having not reached a point where I came to reach last season. I think that was after, you remember when we lost to the home game to Nottingham Forest, because when the season first started, that is last season, I gave an expectation of top four and a trophy when when it was officially confirmed that Pochettino was going to take over. So the target that I had at the start of last season was a trophy and top four. But come that Forest home game where we lost 1-0, that is the day I shifted and decided to go back and see what originally was the plan with these new owners and the new directors, with what they were trying to do. So I went and rewatched the video that the two directors made, and I came to the conclusion from that video that they were going to build an entire squad. So because they already got rid of the previous ones that were there, and the few remnants that remained, I believe your Chilwells and the ones that we are still struggling to get off the books, uh, your Chilwells, your Chukwuemekas and whatnot, they were also to be part of this, the rebuild they wanted everyone to go, because you remember Chukwuemeka was actually part of the Todd Bowley signings that happened under Tuchel. So they wanted to create their own squad, and they did do that in earnest. uh, when that first January window for the sporting directors, they brought in, you remember your likes of Modric, your Fernandez, your Noni Maduekes, Kukurea during that time. So yeah, uh, so at that point I didn't at that point, yes, my expectations for the season, I remember that was under Tuchel, that was winning the league. And as I've said, when Poch came, I gave a target of top four and a trophy. And came that Nottingham Forest home game came, and the one that we lost 1-0, and that's where I changed. So when I rewatched the video of the sporting directors, I came to the conclusion that they were building something for the future. So I, at that point, gave Pochettino that the simple target of position 7 and a trophy. And we ended up getting sixth and the Carabao Cup final, which we ended up losing to Liverpool at the death of extra time. So that was an okay season for me. As much as we didn't get the trophy, we did get sixth. We were originally supposed to be playing in the Europa League, but because United, who finished below us, ended up winning the FA Cup, they took our spot, and we ended up dropping into the Conference League. Now, this season, when they sacked Pochettino and replaced him with Enzo Maresca, I felt that the plan was they went back to what they were originally planning, getting a long-term coach in to play their style. And I think for me the difference were between the key difference between Maresca and was it Graham Potter, who they first hired, was that uh, Enzo Maresca had the persona, or uh, conveyed the characteristics of a winning manager, and maybe not now, and even a future winning manager. That winning culture was in him because uh, Maresca, I basically want to imagine that they came up with that because Maresca won the championship, and they wanted to imagine that that gave him the mentality to be able to, you know, cultivate that winning culture in him also, and he could be able to cultivate that winning culture into the young squad that they were building. So, if I believe you're still following me as I go along slowly by slowly. So, when the players that were brought in this summer came in, because the remit of Enzo Maresca was a head coach, you have to remember, and his job was specifically to coach this young team that the sporting directors were building under the instructions of the new owners. So most of the players, if you actually work in to look at, that came through the summer, your Sanchos, your Felix, your Pedro Netos, they were young, yes, but the key thing for them is they had experience, not much experience, but they had experience of sorts, because they had, those three specifically had played in the European leagues for four, five, 5 years now, and especially for Sancho and Pedro Neto, they had at least that England experience or Premier League experience for Pedro Neto, and Sancho had the original experience briefly before he went to to Dortmund. Sorry, so at least he had European experience. João Felix, we all know, uh, he had a lot of experience playing with Atletico, Barcelona, and whatnot. And for me, João Felix was brought in to be the understudy to Cole Palmer, because uh, Palmer was not always going to play every game, and they were imagining that any time that Palmer was not around, Joao Felix was going to be there. And with the wingers, of course, you understand the situation with the wingers. We couldn't be left there trusting on Mihailo Modric and Noni Madueke, so they had to refresh the wings too. Now, they brought also in Tosin, who at 27, that's added more experience. And so that was the plan with the summer squad. And you could see the squad depth that we had was actually the main reason as to why that we managed to scale the heights of reaching second and almost, and even having the opportunity of going top had we won that Everton game momentarily, of course, because Liverpool had a game in hand. So from that moment in time, I believe that Everton away game, that was a very significant moment in which our season turned. And why did it turn? It is solely on Enzo Maresca and not on the sporting directors. That is the point that I want to clearly make in this video, because most of the Chelsea content creators that I have seen and I have had for the entire week, because I planned to make this early in the week, but I told myself, let me give it a rest, have a listen to what everyone who's pro the protest are arguing, what their arguments are about, what their takes are on the squad, and all of them seem to be blaming the sporting directors for Maresca not using not using players like Felix Vegas, who came in the summer. But for me, the rebuttal for that argument is simply as this, because the blame should be solely on Enzo Maresca, because he was utilizing these players, not starting them, yes, in some games, but giving them significant minutes in some games. And even in the games that he never used them, he had his reasons. That you remember in the spell where we were to face City, I believe they were not City, it was Arsenal, Newcastle, you remember that stretch. And it was a 4 stretch game where I believe we didn't see Nkunku, we didn't see Felix, we didn't see Renato Vegas even coming off the bench. He mostly used and trusted the first team. So he went back again to trusting those same players. But then came the Everton away game, because that's where everything changed, and he stopped using that depth completely. And for me, the problem is he kept trusting in the wrong players. He kept trusting in Madueke, who's not prolific. He now, granted, Mudrik's ban introduced an issue for him, but he had originally started showing us that he could use Felix on the left. He could at times even use Nkunku on the left, with the idea of his being that Felix or Nkunku playing there will be like a left-sided 10 and will allow Kukurea to play more of flying fullback role around along that left-hand side, with the fullback on the other side tucking in with the center backs to create a 3. As you know, Maresca likes your 3 center backs in the attacking phase, with your two midfielders there for protection. I believe 5-5 is his preferred way, and at times could change to 6-4 if he wants to attack more. So the idea was there with using Felix or Nkunku on the left. That meant Kukurea was the one overlapping and being the widest player on that left hand side, with the winger on the right being the widest on this side. So he showed that he could do that. But again, I go back to that Everton game because that was where he stopped completely, and he went the one-dimensional way uh, that he wants to play, and he never changed it at all. And he got found out because that was the start of other managers just doing the simple thing of everyone going back, sitting, sitting back and countering on Chelsea because they knew that uh, the Chelsea were always going to go centrally, and the wingers out wide didn't have you know, the capabilities. They weren't. They didn't have the capabilities to be regular goal scorers. So they were always allowing the wingers the ball because uh, they they weren't really fearful of those wingers. But my point here is that had we had someone like Felix or even Kunku on that left hand side more often in that stretch of run since the Everton game, that at least it will have introduced a different option. Uh, if I may expatiate a bit, it's that with Neto and Sancho, they are more of creators than goal scorers. Madueke is a goal scorer, but Madueke is a frustrating player because decision making always lets him down, and that's something I'm also seeing that's beginning to also affect Palmer himself. So if you're going to play, my thoughts are if you're going to play Pedro Neto, you have to play a goal getter on that left hand side to at least uh, assist Palmer and Jackson at that time uh, with the burden of goal scoring, because if we only have two goal threats in our team, it simply means that they can get easily marked out of the game, and they can allow the rest to have the opportunities and whatnot. So again, all this going back to say and emphasizing the point that Enzo Maresca was and right now is the sole blame and the sole reason as to why we dropped off, because of the lack of trust in the players that he was originally using. Now, situations got worse because two very crucial players for me left in the summer. That is Renato Vega and Joao Felix. Now, yes, we did recall Trevor Chalobah, but for me, what Vega has over Trevor Chalobah is the fact that he is a ball playing defender, DM, left back, because he is versatile. The thing with Chalobah for me is the fact that he is not a ball playing defender. He lacks that completely, and he lacks the physicality on top. And as I said, at best, if you're going to use Chalobah in this squad, he is a squad player at best. But he is at a point in his career where he needs consistent minutes, and that's why he left. That's why we had to let him go. Others can say PSR reasons and whatnot, but the key point here is Chalobah is not a ball playing defender. It's just not him. He is those solid, I like to class him where your James Tarkowski's are, your Premier League hardcore defenders. They love to defend, but on the ball, they really can't do much. So for me, that January window, yes, that one I have no rebuttal for the sporting directors. They messed up in that, but part of that and for that blame of January is, I'm putting it 60% on Enzo Maresca and 40% on the sporting director. 60% Maresca. Why? Because the players that left, he did not use them. and that's his fault. That is not the sporting director's fault. That is the fault of Enzo Maresca, because his rigidness with not trusting those players, because those players would have at least introduced the opposition with something different to think about. They were dynamic players who could play in a variety of positions and were able to, well, in the case of Felix, produce something out of nothing, because even Maresca himself said it at the earlier part of the season that in the squad he originally had in the summer, only two players could produce magic on the pitch, and that's Palmer and João Felix. Now one has left on loan, and now everything falls on Palmer. Palmer has no help at all, and it's even now worse that unfortunately Jackson is injured, and his understudy Gio is also injured. So you're left there with Nkunku, who really doesn't have any position in this squad, because Nkunku's best position is a 9.5. He plays with a striker. That's his best position. If you're going to play a 4-4-2, Nkunku is your man for that second striker role. But we don't play that, and Maresca does not play that. Even it wouldn't even work if Maresca moved to a 3-4-2-1 to play with two tens, because Nkunku is not a 10. Nkunku is a second striker, call it 9.5. Those types of players. And I like to cast your minds back a bit to Nkunku was the first signing of this of the Todd Bowley era, the Todd Bowley and Clearlake era. He was the first signing, but he was signed. He was signed for the following summer, when originally, now when Pochettino came in. So he is not a Maresca signing. He is a club signing, and he was the first signing that was meant to be used by Thomas Tuchel. Now, that at the point in which Pochettino came, he wanted to use him, but sadly, he got the serious knee injury that he did in preseason, and what killed it for Nkunku is the fact that Cole Palmer was bought. Now, Palmer essentially is Nkunku and Felix put in one. He can do what Nkunku does, and he can do what Felix does. But the only thing that Felix has over Nkunku is the fact that Felix can play in a variety of positions in Maresca's system. He can play on the wing, he can play as a 10, and he can also do that false 9 role. So Maresca made a mistake in letting that is Maresca and the sporting directors, in allowing João Felix to leave on loan and Renato Vega to leave on loan. So if in this case where every other Chelsea fan blames and puts all the problems to your sporting directors and whatnot, for the January window, I am fully on board with them. That one, we weakened ourselves and we made the squad even worse. But my issue is, even with the guys that are criticizing the directors and adding on top that the January window was them, is the fact that those players that left, these same Chelsea fans that are complaining now, really didn't trust those players. You see, so because there is this narrative that João Felix only came because Gallagher, he was part of the Gallagher deal. But my question for those people that are saying these statements is the fact that if you well remember, in the Conor Gallagher deal, that we had the opportunity to take someone else after the Omorodion deal collapsed, because Omorodion was to be that player. Now, when that deal collapsed, we had the opportunity to pick someone else in Atletico's squad, not Joao Felix, anyone else in the Atletico squad. But Chelsea, whether the sporting directors or Enzo Maresca, whoever made that decision, they chose Joao Felix. So that's what I'd like to clarify that Joao Felix wasn't the must option that we had to choose. We had a plethora of options to choose from the Atletico squad, but they chose Joao Felix, whoever made that decision. So, yeah, I would like to, as I close this video for today, the main point that I am putting here is that the protest for me is not needed. The protest for me is pointless, because number one, the people who are going to protest all have different reasons as to why they want to protest. So even if you are to organize a protest, there has to be a singular message that is being portrayed, the main message that is being portrayed. But in the protest that is being organized, some people want Todd Bowley out, some people want Clear Lake out, some people want everyone out, some people want the sporting directors out. So there is no unified message. Everyone is going there with his own reasons. And as we've already seen, with the, there was a caller that went to TalkSport to air, to show cause why Chelsea fans were organizing a protest, and he was made to look like a fool, because all the points that he was making did not make sense, and he was made to look like a fool on national radio, national English radio, so even worldwide radio, because let's face it, many people in the world listen to TalkSport. So that's it for today. I'd like to close it there. So main point for me is, please, Chelsea fans, at least if you're going to protest, have a singular message and have a singular reason as to why the protest is going on. If you want Bluco out, say Bluco out, everyone. Have an umbrella of, Bluco out. But you can't have a protest where half of the people that are going there want Bluco out. The other half have a variety of messages, whether it's sporting directors out, Todd Bowley out, Clear Lake out. It just makes you look a bit confused. So that's it. That's where I will close the video for today, and hope you enjoyed, and feel free, drop a like, definitely drop, subscribe to my channel. More content will be coming up. As I said, I will do a video tomorrow or today evening, but definitely will come out tomorrow for the preview of our away game to Aston Villa tomorrow. So thank you, and see you all again. Enjoy your day, and God bless.